Allow me to take you on a journey as we explore the work and successes of VM Automotive, a manufacturing company in the automotive sector. It's based in both East London in the Eastern Cape as well as in Roslyn, Gauteng. They are one of the black industrialists in South Africa. Let us hear their story and just how they have emerged as recognizable industrialists amidst the various challenges that may have come their way. Thanks, Pragib, for allowing me into your office space and having this opportunity to talk to you about VM Automotive and your involvement in business. How did you get involved in the automotive industry? You can take me back to the early days up to now.
No, thank you for coming through, Tim. Yes, I started the company in 2012, and having been interested in the automotives through something that was going on. There was some consortium being formed in the Eastern Cape, and I did participate with that, but it didn't yield anything. But from 2013, I then focused on building my own company.
Now, I've taken a walk around the plant with you to now, be involved in the actual work of the supply chain into BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Ford, I think. When did that happen?
Well, it took a long time for us to get through, to break through. It's a totally guarded market, this with old people who have been there for centuries, literally. Companies that we have had to compete with in the space are as old as that. So we set up only after buying an existing asset, which is the Roslyn plant.
Sure.
And we started those negotiations from about 2013 and completed in December 2017. And then in 2018, it was formalities and of taking over the plant in full. Because initially the idea was that we were going to partner. We were going to partner with a technical company, and that's how it ended up being a 100% black-owned company in the place of us partnering with these technical people.
So the challenges with the takeover, what would those have been? I mean, initially, as you say, you needed technical partners. Let's call it for what it is. You were relatively new to the space, but now here you were faced with a situation where you have to make a complete takeover 100%. What was the experience like of that transfer and takeover?
Well, personally, it was draining my pocket, number one, the whole process, because I had to retain skill within this skeleton company, which I owned nothing. And so I was using from my own salary to pay people, my advisors and guys who are skilled, as you're saying, in the industry. So it was real painful, and it took a lot of personal cash. I had to invest seriously. That is until IDC came into the picture.
And I'll talk about IDC in a moment, but let's briefly talk about the way your company is set up, right? We took a walk around here in Roslyn, the plant. The parts that are produced here, they service who? They service BMW? Tell me more about the relationships.
Yeah, so maybe just to finish off the first part of the question of the struggles that that we had to go through at the time of trying to set up a team. It meant a lot of logistical issues that had to be addressed. We had to travel in the country, make the necessary connections. We've got to go and talk to Mercedes. What are their interests? And start from philosophy. What is your philosophy? And how can we fit in your planning and things? And this company, unknown entity, in fact, we're not even an operating company. We're just a CPIC company which has got an interest in the sector, in the auto sector. So yes, it took us all the time to travel to Europe, to get to understand what are the needs, what are the requirements, and all of that. So we not only traveled to meet OEMs like Mercedes, but we were also traveling to meet your raw material suppliers, and because you have got to have a relationship with them as well if you're going to participate in this kind of industry. So it's a hard to break into industry. Remember that when you get a contract in this industry, it is for a long period. 7 to 9 years minimum contract that you get. So we had to go through that, through a snail pace thing, and convince people that we are the right guys, and yes, and that's how we finally broke through in 2018. We bought these guys off. They were supposed to have come in at 25%, and we were going to take the as the BE company. But of course, they are not used to that as international companies, especially these OEMs. So they decided that they would rather support us out from outside, not from within.
Let you run the business the way you see fit, succeed or fail on your own without their involvement, something along those lines.
That's correct.
And is that what defined, as I'm going back to my question about the plant, that this plant specifically services BMW? Yeah.
Yes, so when we bought this plant, it was owned by MA Tool and Die. They are a CLN group, a subsidiary. CLN is Italian. They're based in Turin. They are huge. They have got these plants all over in South Africa. This was here at Roslyn. This was their number 6 plant. So we took it over. It's no more number 6. This is VM plant now. It's a Roslyn plant. So we supply to them, and they supply to the products that we cut here. We supply to them. They're just neighbors here.
Yeah.
They're across the road. We supply to them, and they supply to Mercedes. So basically, what we're currently doing now is the X3.
They supply to, let me just pick up from there. They supply to BMW.
Correct.
Sorry, you said
to BMW they supply.
You said Mercedes. So
oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Because I know we're going to get to the Mercedes part.
Oh, yes, yeah. We supply to, we get visits from BMW. They also come and check on us and check our processes and all of that. So, yes.
And Ford? Are they also ordering
some parts?
Yeah.
Some parts. Remember, our relationships here are through MA with the OEMs.
Yes.
They are through MA. And we subcontract to MA.
Sure.
And MA is the main contractor. So we're tier 2 company here at Roslyn.
Let's talk about the IDC involvement. You said that's when IDC got involved. How did IDC get involved in supporting the takeover of this plant, including the one in East London?
So we knew that we were going to need money for us to succeed. And we had concluded the technical discussions. Of course, having to go to the IDC from time to time to brief them and say, this is our business plan. We would want that you guys fund us. So they would say they send their own team to come and check whether or not we're doing the right things. Of course, very useful in that they give you tips. At times, there are things that we don't see, which they see better. Including the questions of negotiations, really. IDC is very strong. Everyone knows IDC and they respect IDC views. So IDC came in at a point when they were satisfied with the work that we're doing in terms of business plan and that type of thing. They agreed that they are going to support us, and even at the point, because it changed very late, this issue of these guys just moving out. So even at that late stage, ITC looked at our application, considered it, and passed it. So we got the money to pay. Of course, shareholders had to also make their own contributions, and primarily I was the guy who was doing that. Those first payments, because IDC would not put money before they see your skin in the game. So I had to put in money, and that's how IDC got involved. So, and their involvement was basically buying off this place over. So we bought the land, we bought the plant itself and equipment inside. We had a 179 arrangement. We took over all the stuff that was operating from here. And as I was saying to you earlier, we had some resistance from some of the workers here. They thought that they were being sold out, being sold to a black company, to a black-owned company. But we managed to go through all of those small obstacles and acquired the business as a result. We retained the previous owners as our technical support, and so we pay them on a monthly basis a fee, what do you call technical support fee. That comes to an end, I think, next year, and we're out of that arrangement.
So there's skills transfer, in other words, that's taking place as we speak, anyway, from the technical support point of view.
I may not call it that. I may call it that we're self-developing. We call them when
you need them, if you need any input whatsoever.
Yes.
Maybe, their experience, as it were, if it's something unusual, I can imagine. Now, tell me about the East London plant. I mean, I learned that it's up-to-date technologies that are applied there, and the arrangement seems to work differently. And this is the plant that supplies Mercedes-Benz. Tell me.
Yes. We started supplying Mercedes from here.
Okay.
Until the series, the old series ran out, W205. Now they're running to W206. But W205, we supplied from here, from Roslyn. Now, so in 2019, we put in a bid for the contract of the W206 with Mercedes-Benz. And we went to our funders and told them this is what we're doing, and we would want you to support us. They said, okay, look at it. Let's see what it looks like. That's IDC. And same process. But now at least it was not coming the investment was not more coming from me now, and just running of our marketing. It came from the company, so that was a relief for me. So we did the same things of going out to look at technologies, and for sure, there were many people who were doubting that the technology would be working. But we went out to Europe and in Germany especially, engaged with a company called Schuler. We are the manufacturers, of the machine. So, and with them, we put together a laser machine, laser cutting machine. So it's the only that you have in Southern Africa, the Southern Hemisphere actually. Is the one that we have it in East London. It may have been the fourth machine that was made by this company. They are making, I think, 2 now, because we were there earlier this year. But it is a state-of-the-art technology. You don't see tools around your factory. We use CAD drawings and produce parts.
So the laser cutting and so on, and then the stamping element, or there's no stamping necessarily, it's just
It cuts and it drops.
Oh,
it drops the parts.
Okay.
In the place of you hearing the noise, it has tip,
Okay.
because it cuts.
Yeah.
And it drops. It cuts.
Yes.
It drops.
And the relationship with your, besides the other partners, I mean, they're your first tier supplier.
At East London?
Yeah.
Yes. No, we built the factory from the ground.
Okay.
It's not like here, this was a takeover.
Yes. Yeah.
There, we built, we were part of the designing and everything. And we're directly supplying to Mercedes. There's something they call S-Lock, which is like a storeroom. We just go and deliver there. And MA, who come and stamp after us, they pick up from Mercedes, from the storehouse, from the storeroom of Mercedes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's quite impressive. But if you were building the plant from scratch and acquiring the new state-of-the-art machines, must have been quite an investment. The support that you got from the IDC, would you care to tell me how much that was, and if there were any other elements of support that were provided?
Yes. So at the point we had to share with IDC and say this is how much this thing is going to cost us, and give them all the info. Of course, they want all the information, and we provide that. And we were looking at about 450 that we needed for the plant to be set up and properly established. But I think up to now we've used about 420 of that investment that we declared. And so it's about 420. That's the figure for East London, and that's about the much that IDC was able to assist with. Of course, whenever there's any investments that have to be made, and through IDC support, you also have to put your own. So there is shareholder contribution as well. And because that project complies with the requirements of the AIS,
or AIS?
The Automotive Investment Scheme.
Yeah. That is what
That's
is
DTI.
DTI, right?
That's DTI.
Okay.
Yes. So our applications have been approved by DTI as we have to annually claim for our AIS, and that helps. That AIS money helps us. It's not small money; it's big money. It helps us to offset the loans that we have with the IDC.
Yeah.
Because remember now we've got two loans. It's the Roslyn loan and the East London loan.
And I can imagine if you operate in a global setting, there are specific challenges beyond the normal everyday economic challenges of a domestic nature. Because we're talking 2019, out of the blue you have 2020, 2021 COVID now.
Right.
Now, global economies economies that are integrated into the global economy were affected, particularly companies like yourself. I can imagine, you're just new, you've just committed these investments. Suddenly there's a slowdown. How did you navigate that?
Well, I think basically we've got good finance management in the company. We look very well after our financial resources, especially. But especially with regards to East London, yes, it was like bad timing. But things just worked in our favor for some good reason. We built and finished on time. We were maybe out by 4 months. Our machine was built in Europe, and they did it. And by the time that we were closing down, the machine was in the water. So
being shipped here.
Yes. So by May 2020, the machine was in place, and remember, there was nothing going on at the factory in East London, but there was a bit of work going on here at Roslyn. And fortunately, we were not affected very much by COVID itself. We managed, and we still have everyone around.
And things are looking up, I suppose, now with the opening up of the economy to some extent.
To some extent, you're correct. But we still have the issues of semiconductors that are not coming through, which is an international problem. It's not our problem only. It's affecting BMW, they talk about it openly as well. It's a secret. But things should be looking up better still.
In terms of the size of your operations, in employment-wise, how many people do you have in employment in your organization?
We have about 60 in East London, in that region, and we've got about 50 here in all, including some contractors.
What is your view regarding the approach of the Black Industrialist Scheme? You obviously, you've had support, but is it a step in the right direction? Are there areas where it can be improved, you think?
It's more than a step in the right direction. I think it should be done every day by the government resources allowing, of course. It's very steep to enter this sector of the economy, and to set up factory. It's like to bring in new technologies. It's very, very expensive. But of course the returns are also good, and so it is a good thing that we've got the IDs, the DTI and the industrialist program going. And I think as well, it's a good idea that you've got the president behind this this initiative. As I say, I wish we could get more of this, and maybe even the entry things, barriers are lowered, and government tries to, because it's not easy money.
At a personal level, you probably had to deal with a new world of you mentioned it somewhere, that you went to negotiate with the raw material suppliers on one hand, build relationships there. On the other, the people who you are contracted to supply, materials with BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and so on. What has that experience been like for you?
It's been quite fascinating. It's interesting. You then see where do we fit in world relations, and in terms of knowledge, in terms of the skills that we have in our own organization. And you can see that guys are doing very well. Our guys are doing very well. And I've seen that in Europe when you go and sit in those technical discussions and negotiations. Fortunately, they don't shy. I'm talking about the European companies. They don't shy from asking, so how do you do this? How do you do? So there are a few things that we also are providing to the industry as new entrants, and one of them is a measuring instrument, because the parts that we deal with are very, very sensitive, and at times things get returned if they were not properly done. So we have got quality assurance that is very, very high in terms of standards. And I think some German Mercedes-Benz, a guy employed in Germany, coming to visit us at Berlin, he thought that maybe they also need to take a leaf from what we're doing.
From how you do stuff, right?
That's correct.
And as a company, being a supplier into a global company, operating according to global standards, but being affected by global issues, that's quite a thing there, isn't it?
It is, most certainly. It is. And you are talking about massive companies. They are big. When you send a request, at times it doesn't just come back now.
Yeah.
So, those are things that we get to learn, that, okay, you've got to be patient here, or maybe this is how to escalate things. But the relations are generally good and I think respectful.
Brad Gibson, Ginger, thank you very much for talking to me. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tim.
Quite an interesting story.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you.